Well, I mean, that's easy. I mean, people twist and turn every little comment, every little word. Look,
Hmm.
there's a pause. Look, there was a pause.
Yeah.
Oh, that hand twisted. It. I understand people are trying to find an answer. Truly, I got it. I understand that. But
I want an answer more than all of you combined, I promise.
I bet.
it just, I don't know. It's one of those things people will never understand unless they're in the situation. And I don't ever recommend people or wish this on anybody either. I
Mhm.
don't.
Hmm. Yeah, as a parent, I can't imagine what you guys are going through, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully this lets more people know that what they think of you is wrong. That you're not this overbearing person and you're a terrible person, all that stuff, and they actually start thinking about the facts of, instead of thinking their preconceived emotions or listening to people like T Rev or Dolly Vision for their opinions and think for themselves and listen and think to themselves, should we continue in this hate campaign against people who are innocent, or should we think for ourselves and say, these people are good people who have done who are not bad people, and we're actually harassing good people in the worst time in their lives, and maybe those people should look in the mirror and say maybe that's not the best thing to do. Be good.
Well, I mean, one of the things I kind of, so I guess what's her name? Bullhorn Betty? I forgot her.
Hmm.
But
We,
anyways,
we currently have there's a litigation between Across Motion. She's suing us, and Queen's got a countersuit against her. Let's just say that much.
okay, so I will be careful in what I am saying. However, uh, I think to me it's very interesting how her dynamics, how like her little spin on things, and I'm kind of like her and JLR were a group at one point. I guess they split apart, but
Yeah.
her notoriety and JLR's I think came from the Gabby Petito case, if I remember correctly. I may be off,
Yes,
but
that's where that is Betty and JLR. That's where YouTube met Betty and JLR
Yep.
during Gabby Petito down at Brian Laundrie's home.
so I sit there and I wonder, like, if she do some actual good without having to do all the things that she's done in the past? I don't know.
Well, here's the thing with that, Chris. She thinks she is doing good because she doesn't see that she's doing anything wrong. She's acting within her rights, her own words and what she claims. So that's kind of the problem with that.
Gotcha. So I guess I get. I don't know. In a way, you kind of almost some of these creators should probably go take a few classes in law before they start doing some things.
Well,
That way,
she knows.
they might be able to know what they're doing.
Well,
Well,
Oh,
she knows
well,
what she's doing in Florida. But
no.
all right. So here's a funny little thing. People can look this up. It's great. Tennessee a couple years ago, back when there was all this rioting, people stepping in front of the interstates blocking traffic. There were several states across the country that passed a law. If you're impeding traffic
Hmm.
and you get ran over, that's on you.
I'll keep my responses about this BHB because on this channel I don't like her. I just say
Unfortunately, our hands are really tied. We can't tell you what
No,
we really.
no, I don't want you to because one, I don't want to. Litigation is litigation that stays outside of, you
yeah.
know. My thing with Bullhorn Betty is I think she's very quick to jump to an opinion.
Yeah. You can
Um,
agree on
Yep.
that.
but she's never once actually, as far as I know, actually reached out to have a conversation with me. I mean, people send me clips of her, and it's been interesting. But I wish her the best. don't wish negative on people. I don't.
Yeah.
This bill is a license to hunt and a license to kill. When you see something that is wrong, that is unjust, that is unfair, you have an obligation to get in the way, to get in trouble, to get in good trouble, necessary trouble. These are the words of Congressman John Robert Lewis, who began as a student right here in Nashville, challenging the immoral system of Jim Crow. If it wasn't for John Lewis and his generation finding a way to get in the way, to get in good trouble, I would not be able to stand here before you today and address this body. Many of us in this room would not be able to enter through the front door of this building. We would not be able to eat at restaurants downtown. We would not be able to vote. And yet, rather than honoring this legacy of protest in America, from the Boston Tea Party to the women's suffrage movement, to the abolitionist movement, to the labor movement, to the racial justice protests last summer, this committee has decided with just 2 days left in session to revive an immoral bill that will criminalize protests and grant immunity to drivers who run over protesters. This bill is constitutionally inconsistent. It is economically indefensible as it increases incarceration costs, and it is morally insane. It is morally insane. I would like to come before this committee today with a simple message that bills have consequences. It will make people afraid to come to the streets because you already have people on social media talking about state law says you can run over protesters. Every protest where there's cars revving their engines, threatening to run people over. This bill is a license to hunt and a license to kill. '96 of the protests in the Black Lives Matter movement last summer were peaceful. And so this bill is creating a solution for something that there's not an issue. The legislature has already passed one law to make it a felony to stand in the plaza. And now on the second offense, we're making it a felony to stand in the streets. Where will it stop? If we cannot be on the plaza, we cannot be in the streets, I think the goal of this legislature is to send us home so we cannot exercise our First Amendment right. And so my question to you is, what part of the Constitution has redacted the First Amendment? The right to assemble. Senator Rose, you had your granddaughter here in the legislature. You posted this on Twitter, how proud you were for her to see how the government works. How proud you were for her as a young person to see what the legislature does. I say to you, Senator Rose, that I too am somebody's grandchild. That all of us are somebody's grandchildren, and we want to see how government works. We want a voice in this system, Senator Rose. We don't want to be out protesting, but we have no other choice but to find a way to get in the way, to get in good trouble.